Hello and welcome to day 6. Let's dive straight into it today because today is something that I'm so passionate about because I have been through the trenches with this one here. I have been at both ends of the scale. I've seen my partner go through it. You know what? It's just something that I don't want for you guys because what it leads to is burnout. And that's not a place that you want to be. So let's talk about working smarter and not harder. I'm going to share a little bit about my story and then I'm going to talk to you about how I think that you can make your life easier. So last year was one of the hardest years of my life. I had to deal with some personal things that honestly I hadn't had to deal with before. And truly, I was heartbroken to say the least. Like I was genuinely really sad. Pile on top of that I am obviously a mum. So we all know that being a mum, like it's hard work at the best of times. I already have a small business before I started this business. And then I was in the very early growth stages of this business. And don't get me wrong, like while I love this and I'm so grateful for it, like I was working minimum 12 hours a day. I was doing absolutely everything myself. I had so many people relying on me. I was, everything just felt like so heavy. And then just other life things as well. Pile all of that together. And I'm going to sound a little bit dramatic here, but it is what it is. Pile all of that together. I actually got an eye twitch, and it was really bad. And of all places, I went to TikTok and I was like, does anyone know why my eye won't stop twitching? I can't get it to stop. It's been like this for a couple of days now. It won't go away. And so many people were on there and they were like, you're too stressed out. Like you're too stressed. You need to stop and you need to relax. And initially I was like, nah, I've got it. I'm a hustler. I can do this. And don't get me wrong, I am still a hustler, always will be. And it's not something that I think it's a bad word, but I just do it in a lot more sustainable way today. But then when I really took a step back, because it just wasn't going away. So I was like, all right, maybe I need to listen to these people. So when I took a step back, I realized is this really what I want to create? Is this really what I want to create? I have no time left over. I'm not being present with my kids. I'm so stressed out. It's affecting so many things. My partner could see it. It was a lot. It was heavy. And honestly, I just ended up burnt out. And I don't want that for you because trust me when I tell you, I pretty much, it got to a point where I was like, no. And I pretty much had to burn everything to the ground in order to build back up again because I knew the way that I was doing things, it wasn't sustainable and it didn't really matter, if I just made little tweaks here and there. It wasn't for the long term. It wasn't something I could see myself doing in 10 years' time and still being I'm so happy with this. I knew that, even if I made little adjustments here and there, I'd still end up burnt out and I'd just be on this vicious cycle. And I didn't want that. And I don't want that for you either. So I have been through the ring. I've been through the trenches. I've pretty much burnt it all down. I have built up again. I have built solid foundations. And now the way that I do things, it is so much more sustainable. It is something that I know that I'm so proud and happy to be at the center of. And I know that's something that I can sustain for years to come. I know it's something that I can continue to build and I can actually scale this as well. So, there's a lot of big picture things that come into it. And most of all, it's given me a lot of my time back. I'm more of a present mom. I spend more time with my partner. It's just so much is better. And I feel like that is why I'm so passionate today about teaching people to build sustainable businesses. And people, that's pretty much majority of what I talk about. And I feel like it's something that you don't see it until you see it. But when you see it, you'll be like, oh, she was right. So let me save you the circus that I went through. I want to talk about how you're going to make your life simpler, easier, work smarter and not harder. Now, when you get started in small business, a lot of the time, we're already strapped for funds because we've invested into us, we've invested into products, we've invested into all the things, right? So more people have time rather than money. Generally, that's one of the two things that people have to invest. They've either got a lot of money, not a lot of time, or a lot of time, not a lot of money. So I'm going to speak to the people that have the time rather than the money. To be able to, make things grow at a rate that doesn't take years, generally you're going to have to focus on certain tasks, and there are going to have to be other tasks that are going to need to be outsourced. But in the beginning stages, you pretty much wear all of the hats, right? Like you're busy. But to be able to focus on the actual needle moving activities, you need to outsource some things. And this is where the funds come in, because a lot of people, like, we don't have the funds to invest into VAs. We don't have the funds to invest into agencies. We don't have the funds to do all of those things. So what do? The answer is AI. Like, it honestly actually is. And I think that, yes, it's been around for a while now, but I really feel like we're at the beginning stages of this still. And I really do think, like, watch AI have such an impact this year. Like, I truly believe it. I could talk about it for days. But the answer is AI. And I'm going to just tell you something. So last year, I had a bad mindset towards AI, right? I was genuinely like, no, people are just lazy using AI. It's generic. It doesn't make, you can tell when people are just copying and pasting things, rah, like all those things, right? Obviously, when I hit the burnout, I was like, oh, I need to figure out a way to do this smarter. and then that's when I realized, like, if you actually learn to use it properly, it is a game changer. Because yes, absolutely. You could jump on ChatGPT today, be like, hey, write me content, and it'll give you 4 pieces of content, but it's going to be generic. It's going to be easy to be like, oh, that was a copy and paste. But if you spend the time training it and you actually let it know that this is what we're doing, I want you to learn who I am, you can pretty much create a clone of yourself. Like, I went so far as screenshotting all of my content, uploading my captions. I can't tell you how many hours I've spent on this thing, right? And now when I use it, it sounds exactly like me. And don't get me wrong, like, I don't just copy and paste it. I read through it and I make sure that it's speaking exactly how I want it to. But if I do make changes, I go back and say, hey, here's the changes that I've made. And eventually, trust me, it becomes like a really, really, really good tool. Not only that, like, you can get it to do work with you, but you can also get it to, like, map things out for you. You can get it to, like, help you further understand certain things, help you develop plans, help you get deeper in your, like, brand identity, like, all the things. And today I just want you to consider, like, some of you might already be, like, so into AI and be like, yeah, I know all of this. But for the ones of you that are either, like, on the fence or new to it or all of these things, like, I just want you to consider for the next 30 days, if you actually leaned into it, I'm going to give you a prompt, but I'll talk about that in a second. If you actually leaned into it and you utilized it, how open are you to understanding how beneficial that this can be for your business? Because time is the most precious thing. Time is the only thing that we cannot get our money back from. We cannot buy it. We cannot return it. We cannot do anything like that. So the more time that you can save, the better off you are going to be. It's going to allow you to work on tasks that you actually need to be able to do yourself. It's going to give you back time with your family. It's going to give you back time just with yourself. So anything to save your time. And I'm telling you, AI is a fantastic tool for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach a Google Doc. And inside of that, I'm going to have some prompts for AI. So I use ChatGPT, but there are other different AI sources that you can use. You just use whatever's best for you. But I'm going to attach a document, like I said, with ChatGPT prompts. Now, I want you to do the first one and I want you to fully train it. And it's going to take time. Don't expect this to be like a 2-minute thing that you're going to need to do. It's right now, if you're listening to it live, it's actually the weekend, so perfect timing. But if you're a few days behind, don't worry, just make the time for it. And I want you to spend the time training it, and you will see eventually that it becomes more and more and more like you. But you have to be willing to continually keep teaching. It's like how we need to keep learning. AI also needs to keep learning as well. It's not just as simple as being like, okay, cool, well, I got that from there, I'll take it and I'll change it and whatever, that's fine. If you don't teach it, how is it supposed to get better? So please just remember that. But so I'm going to give you the first prompt. The first prompt is going to be training ChatGPT to be more like you. And then I'm going to give you a series of other prompts, and it will depend on what stage of your business that you're up to as to which prompts that you actually use. But I would encourage you, like, just be open to see, like, try them all. Like, what's the worst that's going to happen if you try them all? Nothing. Like, so try them all. If you don't want to do that, just try the ones that are most relevant to you. And then please come back inside to Charismatic Creators and tell me, like, what your thoughts are on this. I'm so open to having this conversation. Like I said, like I have been on both sides of this. I've been on the side where I'm like, nah, people that use it are like lazy. like genuinely, that's what I would have said. And today I'm just like, oh my goodness, like this thing. Ugh, I'll be like honest with you. Last night it wrote me up a dinner recipe. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm using it for business, but I'm also using it for a lot more than that as well. Trust me. So I've been on both sides of it. I'm so open to hearing your thoughts, feelings, concerns, all of the above with it. Let's do it. I'm excited. I'm excited to hear what you think. That's a wrap on today. Let's do this.